Goalie can be a stress-inducing position, especially when the game is really hard. But with these 5 quick tips, you can turn that frown upside down, flipping your L into a W. These tips all come from an extremely difficult match I recently had. The enemy forwards had so much pressure and we struggled to get their goal barriers down quickly. So I had to hold an open goal for extended periods of time just to give my team a chance to win. Just to survive, I had to extract everything I could from these tips. So let me share them with you as we go through this impossible match. In this first clip, we misplay and get ourselves stuck in an animation allowing them to get our last goal barrier. That one is on me, but an important lesson to learn. If you aren't safe, don't go using abilities for no good reason. That is a general play tip though, that won't help you hold as a goalie. Our first tip comes into play right here. Both enemy forwards are rushing at the goal, with just a Luna goalie and Octavia forward standing in their way. The push-through power of Juliet and Asher will easily overwhelm us. I need to think of something quick. Now, normally I would pass down to Kai and we'd be safe, but both enemy forwards come down, attempting to cover the pass. If I do pass here, there is a high chance they just score immediately, especially with Asher having core flip up. So instead I play the core up, into the little elbow here. Remember this spot, the one I call elbow. It's the bane of goalies normally. When the core hits it, there is a chance that the core just sticks to the wall and flies into your goal. But you can use this against forwards too. Here I throw the core into the upper elbow and it gets around both enemy forwards, and we once again have pressure. We fast forward a little more through the clip and I switch to using the wall itself to bounce around the enemy forwards rather than the elbow to avoid catastrophe. But this is fine too. You can find a ton of passes or clears by using the elbow or wall to go around the enemy forwards rather than trying to go through them. Use them as an extra striker for your team and all of a sudden your 1v1s are 3v1s in your favour. As the round continues, I'm barely able to keep the core out of our goal using my special when I had nothing else left. But at this stage, the enemy still have far too many resources. Specifically, Juliet's core flip. But even as a goalie, especially if you're Luna, Aimee, Estelle, Kai, Vice, or other long-range goalies, the pressure you can exert can often lead to goals in the 3v3 push, or at the very least, can cost some enemy resources. You will frequently see me fire my rocket towards forward duels to apply pressure on the enemy, but that goes doubly for chances at goal. Here I see Kai shoot for the bottom corner, and with Estelle having to reach to save it, I know I have a chance to score. The only forward that can contest is Juliet, who doesn't have the range to really stop me unless she uses that core flip. So I leave my eject button behind as I dive to the bottom of the map. My first strike is saved, but that gives our team the positional advantage. While I still have time on eject button, I move to strike again along with Octavia, forcing a core flip from Juliet. With me safely back in goal and the enemy expending so many cooldowns to deal with the 3v2 we temporarily had, Kai easily finishes off the goal. In the next clip, we see my new favourite technique to use in Omega Strikers, standing completely still. Well, not quite, it's more of an exercise in patience. We've gone over in our previous guides how Omega Strikers is a game of chicken. The first person to cave in and strike loses out to the other, but this can work to extreme levels. Here we are already one barrier down and the enemy forwards are looking to force in down bottom. The core comes to me and on a normal day I would throw it into the void, but by waiting just a half second longer and striking it at the last second, Asher is out of range as the core move faster than her, and Octavia is ready to receive the pass. Now sadly we lose the forward duel as Estelle helps her team clear, and now we have the classic goal or goal barrier scoring technique. The core is travelling towards the goal and if I don't strike, we'll lose the barrier. All Asher has to do is follow the core and wait, then strike back. Now is the time for Ultimate Chicken. I wait until the core is close, but I don't quite wait for the last second. And Asher is too slow, having expected me to strike a fraction later, and the core is safely cleared. A lot of this is a guessing game, but try being more patient than not, and you'll see a huge improvement to your 1v1 game as a goalie. The round continues on, we get one goal barrier, and then here I use a little more patience. My pass option initially is Octavia, who is marked by 2 enemies, or no one down at bottom, and just hoping that we get there before they do. Instead, I just walk with the core to see what happens. Both forwards and Octavia come down to the bottom area, so in an attempt to break some ankles, I throw it towards the diagonal up top to put the core on their side. Asher gets to it first, but it buys Kai time to return and help out. Eventually, thanks to some more pressure output from me like we had in tip number 2, Kai is able to secure the goal. This third clip is a bit of a bonus clip, and you'll ignore it because I just got lucky, but luck only comes to those who are prepared for it. For the first time this game, we are up in barriers with their goal open. Asher gets desperate and tries to core flip to open our goal, so I answer with my own. I didn't have to, but I wasn't super confident in reacting with a strike in time. Now, instead of just throwing the core flip straight back or throwing it straight away at all, remember tip number 3, be patient. And then I even went for a bit of tip 1 as well, using that elbow to try and get it down to Kai. What happened instead? Well, that was just the luck that I was prepared for. Core strikes are way more than just clear as a goalie. You have a second to strike it, so use that time and think where you're going to send it. Now, when you bring all these tips together, you can achieve this one, your last tip and target for all of these things. When you're patient and use the time to find better passes, when you are constantly applying pressure with your range, and finding the space around your enemies with passes to the wall, you will naturally find that you have full control of the midfield all by yourself as a goalie. So many goalkeepers consider that the goal is their only responsibility, but with that mentality you'll always need at least one forward in the midfield, not up there trying to score. I'm not saying you always need to do this, but when you find that you've made enough space to step up, or freely use your abilities, do so to control the midfield. Keep the core on their side. If the core is on the enemy side of the field, it is hugely unlikely that they can score. They will much more likely be panicking, and with one slip up will result in a goal for your side. So those are my 5 top tips for rough games as a goalie. If you found the guide helpful, please do drop us a like, comment down below on any other guides you'd like to see, and subscribe if you want more content like this. Ciao.